Today on I'm a transgender queer psychic prophet shaman. I'm going to talk about hospital abuse. This kind of shit happens to me all the time. I was recently at the hospital for a head injury, and while I was there I had an MRI and an EKG, and I proved I did have a head injury. And on my hospital paperwork it says I was there for an emotional illness. 2 months ago I was at the hospital for a concussion, and they said it was a tension headache. 2 weeks ago my head hurt so bad it was unbearable. I was unstable and I kept falling over. I called 911 and told them I had a head injury. I wanted to go to the emergency room. Ambulance picked me up, and while I was at the hospital they gave me a MRI and an EKG and told me I had a large cyst in my head. I never lied about my head injury. I explained my head injury in great detail. I said I was in a massive amount of pain. I told them it felt like I had a blood clot, and I just explained that I just felt horrible. And they put on my hospital paperwork that I was there for an emotional illness, even though I proved I did in fact have a head injury. My mom works in the ER, and she talks about this kind of abuse all the time. She says they lie about the patients constantly. She told me they had one woman come in, and the hospital staff thought she was somebody else, and they tackled her and tried to admit her in the hospital. And they later found out she was somebody else, and they had to call the police and let her out. So I wasn't at the hospital for an emotional illness. I was at the hospital for a head injury. I proved I did have a head injury, and they put on my paperwork I was there for an emotional illness when I wasn't. I'm a transgender queer psychic prophet shaman, and I always have been. That means I'm psychic and I talk to the Holy Spirit, and that I angelically spirit channel angels. If you're one of those, you had a calling to be one of those, and the Holy Spirit or Allah, whatever one you want to call him, homeschools you in ancient religion and in a massive amount of stuff. So John Edwards would be a psychic angel messenger. Joyce Myers would be something similar. There's tons of psychic angel messengers in the telephone book. You can grab your phone book right now and glance through the psychic part, and you'll see tons of psychics, and you'll see tons of Native American shamans in there that do psychic readings and that kind of stuff. So what I am isn't even unusual. I'm a transgender queer psychic prophet shaman and a psychic angel messenger and angelic spirit channeler. And there's tons of those in the telephone book. I've never lied about being one of those. It's my American rights to be one of them. And on my hospital paperwork, they said I was there for an emotional illness when I was there for a head injury. Some people don't think it's a big deal, but it actually is a big deal. If you go to the hospital for a broken leg, you don't want your hospital paperwork to say you were there for an emotional illness. It gets absolutely ridiculous. I broke my leg. Oh, let me put on your paperwork. You're here for an emotional illness. No, assholes. I was there for a fucking broken leg. It had nothing to do with an emotional illness. Being a psychic angel messenger is a joy. My sister is the same thing. So me and my sister are the same thing. And she doesn't have hospital paperwork that says she's there for an emotional illness. So once again, I went to the hospital for a head injury. And they put on my paperwork I was there for an emotional illness, when in fact it wasn't true.